So get a load of this. I wrestled in college 197 pounds and I never weighed it. Never one day did I weigh 197. I never had to cut a bit. Everybody in my team was cutting weight. I mean, their whole lives were ruined in some ways. I could eat and go to the scale. I mean, never was this even. I don't know what I weighed. I probably, but it wasn't 197. So I fight in the UFC and I get a contract for 205 pounds. I'm going to fight a guy named Babalu. I show up to the scale and I'm fully clothed. They made me take my shoes off. So I take my shoes off. I get on the scale. I weigh 196. And I remember Dana didn't say a word, but he just turned and looked at me. He didn't know that I was a smaller guy. He figured I was cutting down like everybody else. So I have that fight. He instantly gives me a contract for 185. And as soon as I had a contract for 185, my weight went the other way. I had never broken 197. I'd never broken 200. As soon as
Really?
I get a contract for 185, I weigh 202. And then I weigh 204, and then I weigh 208. And this is before testosterone, by the way. This is what I weigh. Like testosterone will put some size on you. That's not what happened. Just for reasons unknown, I'm telling you, the day I got that contract, my weight went up, and it became a real challenge. You know, I was usually about 222. That was when I was exercising and taking testosterone because that put some size on me. But I was about 222 having to pull down to 185. And it was hard, man. It was so hard. The heaviest I ever got was 236 and pulled down to 185. And I
Oh,
remember my last time weighing 185, I was gonna fight Anderson. And I was gonna win that fight. A lot of people thought I thought I was gonna win the fight, but I knew I had a secret, which is I'm not defending this thing. I'm never ever going to weigh 185 again. And I remember going through the curtain onto that stage. I remember opening that Coca-Cola. I would never went back to 185. Never did, and I never will. Maybe on my deathbed, but not by choice.
oh, that was really the last time you fought at 85?
At last time I ever did it. But even if I had won, I'm not coming back. I'm not defending this thing. I knew that going into that fight. It was just I couldn't do it anymore.
What did you fight Bisbing at 85?
Fought Bisping at 85, yeah. The day before Anderson, I'll tell you this because I'm very proud, but I was 17 pounds over.
The day before?
Yes, I was 202 pounds and got all the way down to one. And I had done everything right. I mean, Mike Dolce was living with, I had no fat on the bone. I'm going to have to pull this. I'm going to have to find 17 somewhere. And yeah, I did it all in the hotel room. Never even left the room. Did it all in the bathtub. But oh, it was miserable, man. It was miserable.
Did you do the Himalayan salt?
Yep.
Is that how you did it?
Yep. I used Epsom salt, green rubbing alcohol. I don't know the relevance to the green, but Dolce made a big deal that it was green. And then you could do Abilene. I would do
Yeah.
Abilene, but if I ran out, it worked for me just fine with or without it. But the first day I did that, I mean, I'd been cutting weight my whole life. And more importantly, I was surrounded by people my entire life that cut weight. I'd never heard ever of laying in a bath. You know, it was a sauna. It was a hard work. You put clothes on and go run. And Dolce said, no, you don't ever have to get your heart rate up. This will work. And I remember Matt Lindland was gonna have me do this. Do it tomorrow, the day of weigh-ins. I said, not a chance. I'm doing it tonight. I'm gonna do it tonight because it's not gonna work. But I want to waste time and prove to you guys what a stupid idea this is of yours. So I sat in the bath in this salt and this mix. I did have the Abilene, the green rubbing alcohol. And I remember I did it for 1 hour. My alarm went off. I stood up, and when I stood up, the mirror was right there in the hotel bath, and I could see. Oh my God, I don't even look like the same guy. I got on the scale. I'd lost 8 pounds. I was only 6 over to start with. So now I'm 2 pounds under the day before. I mean, this bath and this salt business, Dolce's a damn genius for coming up with this thing. That's a weight cutter's trick, but we didn't know it in wrestling. The weightlifters knew it. So Dolce brought it over to our sport.
Yeah, I was just watching a video of you and Bisbing, and you were like telling him you're going to murder him and stuff. But you must have been right after the weigh-ins because you were so sucked up,
Yes.
looking like it looked insane. I was like, oh my gosh.
I actually know that video you're talking about. We did that in Chicago, and I saw that video myself, and I could barely even speak in those interviews because I
Yeah.
was so dehydrated. And that's one thing the UFC used to never do that. When you weigh in, you're free. No media, no anything after weigh-ins. And it was UFC on Fox. So when Fox stepped in, some of those policies, there was some push and pull with who's in charge here. And it was some push and pull. You know who won that, Dana White. But this was only the second one. So some of us guys, even after weigh-ins, opposite to the policy, had to go do that media. So I remember that. I remember that. It was one of the it was terribly inconvenient. You know, after weigh-ins, you got to leave me alone. Now I got to get in fight mode. I got to rehydrate. I got to cover and focus. One of those things.